It's the 2nd of July, and I'm making this video to all those, particularly American soldiers, or former soldiers, who are coming over to Ukraine to fight us Russians, especially those that still believe they're fighting communism. This is a food court in a shopping center. This is ice cream from KFC. I think you know what that is. You think you're fighting communism by fighting Russians? You're idiots. You're being lied to. I am former American military as an officer. And believe me, I know how much they lie to you. And they lie to you non-stop. But no, you're not fighting communism. But you are supporting a nice Nazi dictatorship in Ukraine that has banned all political opposition parties, now has banned elections even the farce elections they were going to have now been banned. Opposition leaders are arrested, shot, murdered, sent into exile. Their properties confiscated for that billionaire Zelensky and his clique of a homosexual, God only knows what, showman. The majority of those around him are his collective from his acting days in second-rate sitcoms. And they've confiscated all the media under one roof, his. So that's what you're fighting for. You're fighting for out-and-out dictatorship of Nazis. That's where, when he's talking about, he's defending, when Biden says these guys are defending America's values, or Zelensky saying that, you better hope those aren't America's values, though they seem to be more and more every day under Biden and his crew. And that's what you're fighting for. That's what you're going to die for. Because believe me, we're going to kill all of you. Those aren't stupid enough to run. Those stupid enough not to run away are going to die. And those that do run away, especially since you guys so enjoy putting your faces up all over the internet, you're going to be hunted down. Best case, you're going to be tried, and you're going to be sentenced, and then you're going to serve out 20 years somewhere cold. Trust me. There's lots of forest in Siberia that needs to be cut down for projects. Or you're going to be cut down, period. So, either way, I mean, you're fighting for the wrong side if you haven't figured that out yet. Now, for those of you who are saying we're fighting to defend the poor Ukrainian people, because, you know, you're bleeding hearts about civilians suffering. I've got one little question. Where the hell were you for 8 years as those poor Ukrainians were murdering Russians in eastern Ukraine? And those Russians, all they wanted was federalization. Yeah, the same thing you Americans have, federalization. The same thing you Germans have, federalization. Same thing you bloody French have, federalization. Where they get to elect their governors instead of having some oligarch installed over them who steals everything that isn't nailed down or he can't pry back up. So for that, these people were murdered by the Kiev regime, the Nazis that you now work for and die for. Mostly you're dying for it. Nobody's going to pay your corpse anyways. Just think about that. But that's who you're fighting and supporting. So if you had no problem with that, for 8 years you had no fucking problem with that, you're a hypocrite then. They're fighting against us who actually are trying not to kill Ukrainians. I know how America fights. And civilian casualties or collateral damage, they piss on it. It doesn't matter. Just like it didn't matter 3 million Vietnamese that were killed. It doesn't matter. So don't give me the human rights bullshit. You supported regimes and you fought for regimes, and I did the same thing, that don't give a damn about civilians. First of all, foreign civilians. They really don't give a damn about their own civilians either. So don't tell me stories you're fighting for any kind of sovereignty or anything else. Because Zelensky's also not sovereign. So if you have no problem with Zelensky murdering Ukrainians, so not only are you a hypocrite, might as well come out and say it, you're just a Russophobe, so you're a double hypocrite. You have no problem with children being murdered actively by Zelensky, by Poroshenko, by the American government, let's put it that way, that main supporter of the revolution and installed an illegal Nazi regime, overthrew an elected government, a freely elected government, that even the UN and the EU recognize as freely elected, and murdered civilians for 8 years. And you had no problem with that. Or you were ignorant, willfully ignorant of it before you decided to go fight for Ukraine. You're either fighting for the money, which you're going to die, or you're fighting for these Nazi idiots, which you're going to die. So why don't you stop being the idiot? You want to fight for freedom? You want to fight for sovereignty? That's the Russian side. Flat out, that's how it is. That's the Russian side. It ain't the American side. World government, where you don't have any rights either. UN health, digital health access, and so on and so on. Everything that's being pushed through. That's America's elites. That's the UK elites. And since Ukraine is their favorite godchild, what do you think? These Ukrainians are for sovereignty? They're fighting for that land because Zelensky's selling it all off to Monsanto, to other corporations. He's selling it all. Glaxo. Everybody wants a piece of Kellogg Brown and Root. Anybody who wants a piece of Ukraine, come and get it. That is the corporations, not you. And definitely not the Ukrainian people. They're just a franchise, totally. So think about that. Again, who you're fighting for, what you're supporting. You're supporting the gay agenda, wokeism. You're supporting global governance. That's what you're fighting for and going to be dying for. If you ain't dead already. And if you're lucky enough to survive and only lose a limb or two, you think somebody's going to pay for your injuries? Somebody's going to support you? You're smoking way too much crack cocaine. Or is it fentanyl? Time to get off the drugs and look at reality. You're on the wrong side of history. You're on the side of the Satanists. You're no Christian, if you think you're a Christian. You're fighting for the guys that are destroying the local Christian church. They're arresting priests, beating nuns, burning churches. That's who you support. You support guys that have concentration camps, the SBU. They have torture chambers, concentration camps. That's who you're fighting for. That's the maggots that you're supporting. That's the maggots you're willing to kill and die for. Congratulations. And Kramatorsk, for those new that just got there, there's been plenty of hits like that. There'll be plenty of hits more. And first and foremost, it's the foreigners that get targeted, like the Georgian Legion and so on. Those are the guys that are going to get whacked, first and foremost. They ain't coming home, except in small pieces of that much. So think about your life choices. Your very wrong life choices. Because I promise you, ain't getting out of this one alive. But if you do, you're going to be running. Because this ain't going to be over. This ain't going to be over for a generation. We're going to hunt every last little bastard down that committed any crimes in Ukraine. And you mercenaries committed lots of crimes. And you're going to pay one way or the other. So switch sides while you still have a chance. And go on the right side of history. Think about it. Think what God would want you to do. Because he as hell wouldn't want you supporting Zelensky and his Nazis. And his thugs. And by the way, when you're legless, armless, and maybe back in the U.S., or you're rotting in the ground in Ukraine and we're planting trees over you, growing new forests, Zelensky's going to be sitting with his wife and kids in Miami in his $36 million mansion, drinking it up, snorting coke, and laughing at you morons. Think about that. Cheers.